name is Leslie McAllister, and I'll be guiding you through a fairly gentle beginner's yoga class today. So it will be a basic class. We'll be introducing some of the most fundamental poses used in yoga sequences. And there's going to be a little bit of an emphasis on backbends or heart-opening poses. So typically for those of us who are pianists or instrumentalists in general, we tend to sit with a position of flexion in the spine. You can see there's a little bit of a C-shaped slump in my body when we place the hands in front of the body. Instead, we want to open up the chest into the opposite direction of extension. So we'll think of leading with the heart as we go through these poses. When we do a lot of these back bends, we'll be using belly down positions or prone positions, for example, in the baby back bend Sphinx. If any of these are uncomfortable for you for any reason, then you can go ahead and rest your back on the earth and then press your hips up into bridge pose, which we'll be doing at the end of the class today. Back bends help us to open up the heart center, which we tend to keep kind of tight when we're worried about being emotionally vulnerable. So they can lead to better creativity, they can enhance confidence, and of course they can help us eliminate some of those dangers of the slumped, flexed position in our spine. So we'll begin in easy seated pose or Sukhasana with one leg crossed in front of the other. Now I have a block with me today, so if you have a block, that is optional, but you might find it useful as you move through some of these poses. One option here is if Sukhasana is uncomfortable for any reason, you can always sit on the block and allow your knees to drift below your hips. So that's an option there. From here, we're going to work on a balanced breath on what's called Ujjayi Pranayama, which means victorious breath. And this uses the constriction at the back of the throat to create a sound that presents a way to focus the mind when we're holding a yoga pose. So we'll practice this by pretending that our hand is a mirror. And when we make the exhale sound, it's going to sound a little bit like Darth Vader or an ocean wave. So we inhale through the nostrils, and then we're going to exhale and fog up the mirror. Try that one more time today, inhaling through your nostrils, and exhale. So now we'll place one hand on our low belly, one hand on our heart center. And we'll just begin to inhale and exhale out through the nostrils. And see if you can keep that constriction at the back of your throat to allow for that focus on the sound of the breath. So just keeping a nice gentle inhale and exhale here and beginning to notice that sound in the back of your throat. You might notice here that the length of your inhale and exhale deepens just a little bit. And you might also become aware of this little bit of a lift in your low belly so that your low belly presses into your hand just a little bit every time you inhale. Now you can go back to that fogging up the mirror with your hand, or you can begin to try that Ujjayi Pranayama with the mouth closed through the inhale and the exhale. We'll inhale for a count of 4 and see if you can still hear that sound in the back of the throat. So exhale completely and inhale for 4. And exhale, 4. I'll keep slowing down the count. Inhale. And exhale. And one more time together. Inhale. And exhale. Now just for a moment, continue that breath. Allow the backs of the hands to rest on the knees. Draw the shoulders up by the ears and then lower them down away from the ears, keeping the back of the neck, the cervical spine nice and long. Drawing the navel in toward the spine so that you root into the sits bones, and from that rooting action we lengthen and extend the spine, the crown of the head up toward the sky. We're going to allow our fingertips to rest gently on the mat. And then on your next inhale, we'll lift those hands up toward the sky. Look up at your fingertips. Draw your hands together, pinky side of the hands pressed in together, and then as you exhale, take those prayer position hands, bow down, chin to chest, thumbs press into sternum, and then release your hands to the mat again. 2 more times, inhaling, lift. hands together at the top and exhale, bow down. Just gently press those hands, bow your head down as you take your hands to heart center and then release them to the mat. And one more time, inhale, open and extend. Make these actions big. And then exhale, press in, lower your head, bow down. Stay here just for a moment and see if you'd like to set an intention for the class. So your intention today might be simply to stay aware of your breath or to develop an understanding of how the body feels in different poses, or it might be just to simply gain a sense of calm and relaxation through the practice. So just bow down and set that intention. And then we'll move into some side bends. So we'll release those hands to the earth. Inhale them up to the sky again, and this time take your left hand to the mat. Inhale, look up and reach up with your right hand, and then exhale, bend over to the left side, keeping that chest nice and open. The ear beside the bicep, not allowing that shoulder to come forward. Inhale one more time. Exhale, go a little bit deeper. Press the right sits bones into the earth while you do so. Inhale to bring both hands up to the sky. And then exhale to release the opposite hand to the mat. Inhale, reach and look up at your extended hand. And then exhale, again, pressing into that left sits bone, opening your chest up, staying nice and lifted here. And think about opening through those intercostal ribs. This will help to deepen your breathing through the practice. Inhale, lift both hands up overhead, and then we're going to move into a twist. So twisting over to the left, we'll take our right hand on the outside of our left thigh, the left hand behind you. Inhale, lift and lengthen through your spine, and then drawing in with your navel, begin to look behind you over that left shoulder. One more inhale to lengthen, and another exhale to twist and rotate just a little bit deeper. We'll inhale the hands back overhead, look up, and then exhale to the opposite side. Just staying nice and gentle here, not forcing any of the actions. Inhale to lengthen your spine first, and then exhale to rotate. So we're moving through the middle back here. Think about drawing your navel in on the next inhale, which allows you to rotate just a little bit more into that twist. Take one more inhale, release that twist, lift both hands up overhead. We're going to take the hands in front of the body and begin to walk them forward. Now we'll begin to fold into this easy seated pose. So first inhale, reach your heart forward, and then exhale and begin to fold over your legs. Now here you have the option of using that block if you'd like to use it to rest your forehead on the earth. Or if your forehead goes all the way down, you can go ahead and release that. Maybe taking the hands a little bit further overhead. Take one more inhale here. One more exhale to allow those shoulder blades to widen away from each other, releasing a little more deeply into that fold, and then begin to walk those hands in. Very nice. All right, so here we're going to move into a little bit of a shoulder stretch. So we'll take the hand behind the back, but when we do that, you'll wrap your thumb and third finger around the wrist, almost like you're providing a little bit of a traction for the wrist. So we're going to start with our right hand and take that hand behind the body. Then with the opposite hand, we wrap it around the wrist and begin to pull that hand over to the left. So begin first by just lengthening the spine. And then if that stretch feels okay, then you might begin to look over to the left and to the right, and allow that right ear to come a little bit closer to the shoulder, or maybe even look down toward your right hip just a little bit and notice that stretch. Releasing both hands, we're going to take the arms out to the side and move into eagle's arms. So we'll take the right arm under the left, the elbows cross, and you can take the backs of the hands to touch, or if it's available, move into a double cross where your palms press into each other. So finding our eagle arms here, we're still rooted into our sits bones. We have that nice tall spine. We inhale, lift the elbows up, feel that shoulder stretch, and then exhale, bow down a little bit and draw those elbows down and in. So we're really pressing those arms together in toward the midline, drawing everything in. Inhale and lift the elbows again, feel that nice shoulder stretch. And then exhale to release and bow down. We'll take those arms out wide. Take the palms to press toward, or palms open up toward the front of the room, and then we're going to pulse, drawing the shoulder blades together. 5 quick pulses. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. All right, now we're going to switch the crossing of your legs. So just take the opposite foot in front this time. So if you have that block, by the way, I didn't mention under your hips, this would be a good time to take it out from underneath you. And again, we're going to walk it forward. So begin to walk forward first. Inhale, lift through your heart center first, and then exhale, allow yourself to round down. Option to use that block under the forehead if that works well for you. Take one more inhale there, lengthening, drawing the navel in. Exhale, release and fold more deeply into that pose. Maybe allowing the forehead, if it's on the earth, just roll really gently from side to side. Now begin to walk those hands back in. And this time we're going to move into that shoulder stretch on the opposite side. So we'll take the left hand behind us, reaching toward the left lower back or behind the hip. And then the right hand wraps those 2 fingers around the wrist. Find that shoulder stretch. Now first allow both shoulders to face forward toward the front of the room. And just feel that stretch. It might be different from one side to another. And if that feels okay, then you might begin to allow that left ear to come toward the left shoulder. Maybe even look over toward the left shoulder or toward the left hip just a little bit, noticing that stretch. Never going to the point of pain, but just feeling a really gentle stretch here. Now slowly release that, not allowing it to boomerang away from you. We'll take the arms out to the sides, and this time we're going to take the left arm under the right, so crossing the elbows, finding backs of hands, or palms touching, finding your eagle arms. Again, allow for that long spine root to the sits bones. Inhale, lift those elbows up, and then exhale, bound down. Feel that widening of the shoulder blades. Inhale, lift, and exhale, release. Releasing those arms, and then taking out to the sides. Maybe roll your shoulders back and forth a couple of times. Release through the neck and the head. And then we'll begin to come into tabletop position on your mat. So here in tabletop, we have our shoulders over our wrists and our hips over our knees. So check that alignment first. And then we're just going to move into some simple cat-cow poses, alternating extension and flexion of the spine. So inhale and look up, arching the back into cow. And then exhale, press into the hands, push the floor away from you, and round the back, looking through the legs. Again, inhale, opposite action, releasing the belly button towards the earth. Inhale, cow pose. And then exhale, round, press in, allow those shoulder blades to widen away from each other. Tuck the chin toward the chest. Cat pose. Inhale, come back to neutral, and we're going to move into puppy pose here. So walk those hands forward a little bit. And as you walk the hands forward, you'll begin to allow, so keeping the hips over the knees, begin to allow the chest to move down towards the earth. So maybe here in this extended puppy pose, you might be able to allow your forehead to release onto the mat. So just notice that shoulder stretch there. Or you might even feel good if you release your chin to the mat. Option here, if you're not able to get to the mat with your forehead, you can also just use the block to help bring the floor a little bit closer to you. Let's inhale and walk those hands back in. And this time we're going to move into a balancing table. So start by taking your right leg behind you and pressing the ball of your foot into the earth strongly. So you begin to notice the activation in your calf. And then take the right leg up. So notice that you want your toes to be pointed toward the earth. You might even look back and check your toes. And then also think about keeping both hips nice and even. Draw the navel in, and when you feel balanced, lift the left arm in front of you, pointing the fingers forward as if you're shaking someone's hand. Inhale and lengthen from fingertips to heel, maybe arch a little bit of a cow pose there. And then exhale, crunch it in, elbow to knee, rounding the spine. Inhale, we'll do that 2 more times, reaching. And then exhale, crunch in, elbow to knee. Chin tucks into chest. And last time, inhale, lengthen, fingertips to heel, and then exhale, crunch in. Beautiful. Take one more inhale to lengthen, and then we'll release the left hand to the earth, and then the right knee to the earth. If you want to take a little bit of a break for the wrists, anytime you can just take the backs of the hands to the earth. We'll do a little bit of a hip circle here. To do that, we'll walk the hands forward into more of a modified plank, and then circle those hips in a clockwise motion. Allow them to sink down toward the heels on the way over and come back to your neutral tabletop. Now we'll move to the opposite side. So I'm just moving so you can see my left side here. We'll take, again, that left foot behind us, pressing into the earth, keeping both hips nice and even. And then when you're ready, lift that left leg up, flexing through the heel. So you're pressing as if your foot is pressed into a wall behind you. Inhale, draw that navel in, activate through the core, and then lift your right hand, lengthening again from heel to fingertips. Inhale. And then exhale, crunch it in, draw the elbow into the knee, and then inhale to lengthen out again. We'll do 2 more times. And exhale to crunch. And last time, inhale, lengthen, and exhale, crunch in. On this last time to lengthen, you might even take that little bit of a cow pose, lifting the leg and the arm up just a little bit before releasing the right hand and releasing the left knee. Again, we'll walk those hands forward and move into our hip circle. So we'll release the hips over to the left in a counterclockwise motion toward the heels and back in. Now here, we're going to go ahead and move, you can stay right where you are. We're going to walk our hands forward. So we come into that modified plank. So notice here that we make a straight line from crown of head all the way to our knees. We're going to inhale and lead with the heart, lowering as slowly as you possibly can all the way down to the earth. Keep the elbows nice and close into the side body. Press the tops of the feet, the shoelace sides of the feet into the earth, and then take your forearms to the earth. So your elbows should be positioned just underneath your shoulders. We're in Sphinx pose here, our baby back bend. And we're going to imagine that we're pulling the mat toward us, or toward our feet. And through that pulling action, we allow our sternum, our chest, to reach forward between the elbows. Take one more inhale here, looking forward. And then exhale, slowly release all the way to the mat. You can either release your forehead to the mat, or maybe cross one arm on top of the other and release into crocodile pose for a moment. Now here, take both hands just underneath the shoulders. Now we're going to move into a baby cobra flow 3 times. So the hands can either stay really light on the mat, or they can lift completely. So release the forehead to the mat. On your next inhale, just lift up a few inches, pressing the tops of the feet into the floor. And then exhale, slowly release. We'll do that 2 more times. Keep those elbows nice and tight, drawn into this body. And then release. And then last time. This time, take the hands to the earth a little bit lower, so just a couple of inches lower, and see if you can come into a mid-range cobra. So this very strong bend in your elbows. Drawing that mat toward your feet, reaching your heart forward. And as you exhale, press into your hands, lift your hips up, and sink your hips down into child's pose, Balasana. So anytime in class that it feels too vigorous or that you need a rest, child's pose is a wonderful place to go for a resting pose. So here your knees can be wide, if that feels good, or they might either also be a little bit closer together. You can either stretch your hands forward, pressing into them for a little bit of a shoulder stretch, or take the hands behind the feet. Wherever you are, every time you exhale, just allow those shoulders to widen away from each other. Maybe roll the head back and forth from side to side to release. Then we're going to move here into our downward facing dog. So if your hands are behind you, take them down on the earth. Begin to tuck your toes, press into your feet, and lift your hips up into an upside down V, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. So this is our first downward facing dog, maybe your first if you're new to yoga. So we're going to begin by just pedaling the feet, and to do that we just bend one knee, and then the other. So your hamstrings might feel tight in this pose, or your calves might feel tight. So this is the opportunity just to kind of explore and warm up the body. You might even find that you look from side to side a little bit, or that you allow yourself to make a little bit of a twisting action through your body. So just kind of warming up into this pose. And then we'll all be together in our upside down V. So look in front of you, make sure that your hands are about shoulders distance apart, and that your fingers are spread wide like starfish. That's a really important hand position to decrease pressure on the wrists. So almost think about pressing into the base of each knuckle in your finger and allowing that pressing action to tent the meaty part of your palm so you're not placing too much pressure on your wrist here. Let's all inhale, lift the heels up off the earth, and then exhale, sink them down. One more time doing that same thing. Inhale to lift the heels and exhale to lower. Now imagine that you're pushing the mat forward with your hands and pushing the mat behind you with your feet. So you're getting longer in all directions every time you exhale. As you inhale, lift the hips higher, draw those shoulder blades away from each other. And as you exhale, sink a little bit lower and get longer in all directions. On your next inhale, we're going to gently tiptoe the feet forward to meet the hands at the front of your mat. So coming into our Uttanasana, or standing forward fold. From here, press your hands into your thighs and begin to move into a half lift. So in this half lift, we're pressing actively in our hands and we're reaching the crown of the head forward toward the front of the room. So we make a tabletop with our back, keeping this nice long spine. Inhale, reach forward, and then exhale, release the hands into your forward fold. We'll do that one more time. Option on the second time to take the hands to heart center, or if you want a little bit more challenge, you can take the arms out and spread them like wings. Exhale, release into that forward fold. Now we're going to just bend the knees in the forward fold, just warming up really gently. You can always keep the hands here, or if you have a block handy, you can allow the hands to reach towards the block as well. Just relax through the head and neck. Allow the hips to be the highest part of your body. And then strong bend in your knees. We're going to reverse swan dive, lift the hands up overhead, look up, and then exhale, come to prayer position at your heart center. We're going to move into a half vinyasa here, using that half lift and that forward fold to prepare us later for sun salutations. So release the hands, inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, upward salute. Exhale, swan dive down into your forward fold, Uttanasana, release through the head and neck. Inhale, half lift. Option to keep the hands on the earth or on the cat, on the shins, or on the thighs as you did before. Exhale, release into your forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees, reverse swan dive up, Urdhva Hastasana, and exhale, hands to heart center. One more time, lift up, look up. Exhale, swan dive down, forward fold, release. Inhale, half lift, tabletop. Exhale, release. Rooting to rise, so press into your feet, allowing that rooting action to lift you up into upward salute, and exhale, hands to heart center, bowing down. From here, you can stay right where you are. I'm going to turn to face you. We're going to stay in this mountain pose, so allowing the hands to come down, the palms face you, but you might start first with the palms facing forward. So imagine that you're pressing into the triangle of your foot, big toe, pinky toe, and heel of your foot, evenly into all three corners. And then allow the palms to come forward. Think about keeping a slight bend in the knees. But as you press into the feet, lifting the kneecaps, drawing the inner thighs together, internal rotation, drawing the tailbone down toward the earth, and keeping the back of the neck nice and long. Inhale, reach up, moving into that same side bend we did from a seated position. Release the left hand toward the thigh. Inhale, reach with the right hand. Exhale, side bend. Inhale, lift up, look up. and exhale, side bend to the opposite side. We'll do that one more time. Option the second time to take the hands together, pointing the pointer finger up towards the earth, or to keep that initial one hand to the leg. So bending over into our side bend, think about pressing into the right foot, and then inhale, lift up. If you have both hands together, it will make more like this. And you're kind of pressing out through that left hip to make a little C shape or banana shape with your body. Inhale, and then moving into a back bend. So you can think of this as a goal post or a cactus pose. We press the hips forward, we look up, draw our heart up toward the sky, and take our elbows behind us a little bit. Inhale, lift up, then exhale, lower down into your forward fold, release. From here, we're going to step it back into our downward facing dog. So starting in that downward facing dog first, and then begin to come to plank. So if plank feels like too much, you can always put the knees down. Wherever you are, think about pushing the floor away from you, doming through the upper back just a little bit, and pressing out through your heels. So you make this clean line of energy from the crown of your head all the way to your heels. Inhale, and then exhale as slowly as you can. Release all the way to the earth, so you're in your belly down position again. This time, we're going to take the hands just a little bit lower and move into either the baby cobra, the mid-range cobra that we did earlier, or a full cobra. So press into the tops of the feet, pull the floor towards you, and lift your chest. Allow that pulling action to bring your heart forward between the hands. Keeping the shoulders away from the ears, look forward. One more inhale here. And then exhale, lower really slowly down, keeping those elbows by the side body. Next, we're going to move into a locust pose. So first, take the hands in front of you, and this time we're going to lift both the feet and the upper body. So on your next inhale, lift up, press into your pubic bone, and then begin to take the hands behind you. Palms can face forward, thumbs pressing up, or you might even take goal post position. So see if you can inhale, press into that pubic bone, and lift just a little bit higher with your legs and feet. And then exhale, release. Press into your hands and push back into child's pose. Just a couple of breaths in child's pose just to release with the upper back a little bit. And then we're going to tuck our toes and press up again into our downward facing dog. Here we're going to move into our standing sequence. So we'll start by lifting the right leg up. See if you can keep both your hips even and your toes pointing towards the earth. Take one more inhale to lift that leg up just a little bit more. And as you exhale, crunch that knee in toward the chest. And then, as softly as you can, take that foot between the hands. We'll take the back foot down at an angle, a 45-degree angle. So think about the front heel either intersecting with the left heel or the arch of the foot. Then pressing into the feet, we'll lift up into Warrior One or Virabhadrasana 1. So in Virabhadrasana 1, this is a closed hip posture. So we want both hips facing forward and our knees stacked over our ankle. If that doesn't feel comfortable, you might heel toe that right foot out just a little bit so the feet are in two different lanes of traffic. So coming into that Warrior One on your right side, keep the shoulders away from the ears, draw the navel in toward the spine, and press evenly through both feet. Take the hands in front of you, and on your next inhale, we'll move into a Warrior One cat-cow variation. Inhaling to open the heart and the arms, and then exhale to close, rounding the spine and drawing those hands together. 2 more times, moving nice and slow, keeping that strong bend in your front knee. Exhale and tuck in and round. Last time, inhale, open, draw the heart forward, and then exhale, close it in. Come back to your Warrior One, and from here we'll windmill the arms open to our Warrior Two. Heel toe that back foot just a couple of inches to make a longer stance. And you can check that by making sure that the wrist of both hands is over the front knee or over the back ankle. We keep the shoulders away from the ears, and then we check that our torso is centered between the legs. pressing evenly through both feet, maybe pressing into the knife blade of your back foot a little bit. Actively reach and expand through your wings. Active line of energy, clean line of energy, reaching out with your fingertips. As you inhale, reach forward. And then as you exhale, release that left hand down towards the thigh where you lift actively up through your right hand, maybe even taking it behind you just a bit for a nice side bend or lateral bend, keeping that strong bend in the front. Inhale, go a little bit deeper. This is reverse warrior. And then exhale, return to your warrior two position. Now we're going to move into extended side angle. So start first with your right forearm just resting on that thigh, and reach your left hand up toward the sky. Notice that the shoulders are in alignment and we're actively reaching with our hand up, maybe looking up at the hand if that feels okay for your neck. Then see if it feels okay if you release that right hand down towards the earth, maybe keeping it light on the earth in front of that right foot. If not, just keep that elbow on top of the thigh. Extended side angle. Another option is to reach that left hand forward toward the front of the room, keeping that ear lined up over the bicep, and making this strong line of energy from knife blade of back foot all the way through our fingertips, reaching forward. As you inhale, use your obliques to lift back up to your warrior two, and we're going to move into a little bit of a flow here. So inhaling to reverse warrior, and then exhaling into your extended side angle. Again, option here to allow those fingertips to drift towards the earth in that extended side angle. Just make sure that you're keeping that chest nice and open, not allowing the shoulder to come forward. Inhale, reach. Last time, exhale, extended side angle, look up. And then inhale, drop into your warrior two. Straighten through that front leg and then heel toe the back foot in a couple of inches for a shorter stance for triangle. Utthita Trikonasana. Reach the fingertips forward and keeping that nice open chest, allow the right hand to drift down towards the earth. Now if you have your block handy, you may want to take it beside your left foot. This is the highest height, the middle height, or the lowest height. So you can pick what works for you. You can simply rest that right hand on the block at any of the three heights, actively reaching, expanding through your wings, reaching that right hand up. Inhale, reach with that top hand, keeping that chest nice and open, as if you're standing against a wall. On your next inhale, press into your feet, lift all the way back up, coming to a wide-legged forward fold on the side of your mat, the long side of your mat. So you notice I've pigeoned my right foot in just a little bit, so my toes are pointing in toward each other, just a little bit. Inhale, reach up, and then exhale, coming to a goal post position, just opening up the front of the body. And now we're going to lunge from side to side. So allow those toes to point out towards the corner of the mat. Reach up, and we're going to make a little circle. So we're circle over, bending through the right knee, allowing our torso to drift and fold over that right leg. Circle gently on the ground around to the other side, bending through the left knee and coming back up. Let's do that one more time. You can stay in a certain spot if there's something that feels good or feels stuck to you on the way over. But just moving really nice and slow through those circles. Now let's come back to that slightly pigeon-toed position, reaching the hands up overhead and then taking the hands on the hips, moving into a wide-legged forward fold. So we'll reach forward with the heart, leading with the heart. Allow ourselves to come to a flat back first, lengthening through the spine, crown of head reaching towards the front of the room, and then allow ourselves to fold forward. So here you can take the hands underneath the head, press into the palms, and allow that head to come a little bit closer towards the earth. Think about inhaling to lift up through your hips, so the hips are the highest point in your body. And you can adjust the width of your stance. So if your stance is too narrow, then you're going to be way up here. So you can widen it out to allow that crown of the head to come a little bit closer towards the earth. But you're not necessarily aiming to get there. You just want a little bit of a deeper forward fold. Take one more inhale, lift your hips.
And as you exhale, press into the outer blade of both feet and allow your head to drift a little bit lower, maybe shaking the head, yes and no, releasing through the head and neck. Good, now we're going to take the left hand underneath our nose, take our right hand onto our right shoulder, and lift it open through that right shoulder. Then extend the right hand up toward the sky, actively reaching up with that top hand. Revolved, wide-legged forward fold. Inhale, reach, and then exhale, release that right hand down. Take that right hand to the earth. Again, we have those starfish palms. Left hand to left shoulder, open that shoulder up, and then reach the left hand up. Inhale, exhale, revolve the right lung up to the left, twisting through the mid-back. One more inhale to reach. Exhale to slowly release that hand down. And then we're going to walk our hands forward so that we come to a lunge at the front of our mat. So in this lunge, maybe this is our first low lunge, so you might just allow yourself to move back and forth a little bit on your mat to release through the hips. And then when you're ready, take that left foot light to the front of your mat, coming into Uttanasana, forward fold. Now you might be able to go a little bit deeper than you did the very first time that you did this pose. If so, you have the option to take a bind here, maybe clasping opposite elbows behind the calves, or just taking the forearms behind the calves, or not. It's up to you. We're moving here into chair pose, so release that bind if you have it. Take the hands light on the earth and begin to bend through the knees. So first, keeping that belly close to the thighs, then begin to sweep the arms up, coming into your awkward chair, Utkatasana. So look down, make sure you can still see your big toes, and lengthen the tailbone down towards the earth. Take an inhale, straighten your knees, and bring the right knee up with it. So you're coming into a stork pose with your right knee lifted. Now we're going to cross that right leg over the left. So you might start just by kickstanding the right leg or the right foot onto the earth. Or you might be able to do a single cross or a double cross. Then take the hands, take the right arm under the left, coming into our eagle arms like we had at the beginning. Single cross or double cross. Inhale, and then exhale. See if you can sink down and stay balanced here. You can still keep that foot kickstanded if you want to. Keeping that spine nice and tall. Inhale, draw everything in towards the midline, like you're squeezing a penny between your thighs. On your next inhale, lift, release the arms, release the foot, and release back into that forward fold. Here we'll step both of our feet back into our plank pose. Hold your plank for one full inhale and exhale, pressing the earth away from you. Drawing the navel in, staying strong through our core. And on your exhale, really slowly lower down towards the earth, coming to your belly again. So we're going to come back into our locust pose from here. So take the arms in front of you. And then again, we're going to lift both our feet and our hands. So inhale, press into your pubic bone, lift feet and hands. Good, and maybe reach back into goalpost position or behind you, thumbs pressing up towards the sky. Really actively press into the pubic bone, lift the chest, lift the legs, and then exhale, release into crocodile pose. Release completely, maybe allow the legs to windshield wiper from one side to another if that feels good for your lower back. Release the legs, press the hands into the earth, press back into a short child's pose. A full breath here. Maybe allow the hips to float from one side to the other really gently. And then when you're ready, tuck the toes. We'll come back to that downward facing dog, and we're going to switch sides this time. So this time, lift the left leg. Again, the big toe points toward the earth. The hips are nice and even. Inhale is a little bit higher with your upper hamstring, And then exhale, crunch it in, and then step it through as softly as you can between your hands. Reach your heart forward and then step that right foot back behind you at an angle. Moving into our warrior one, Virabhadrasana one. Press into your feet, lift up, and adjust your stance as necessary. Maybe heel toeing that left foot to the left a little bit. Shoulders away from ears, strong bend. Knee is stacked over the ankle here. Take your hands in front of you. Inhale, open your wings, look up. Exhale, close your wings, look down. Our cat-cow in warrior one. Press through the knife blade of that back foot. Make sure you're staying nice and balanced and moving slowly and with awareness, as if you're moving through molasses. Inhale, reach the arms up, and then we're going to windmill open to our warrior two. So again here, you may want to lengthen the stance by taking that right foot behind you a little bit more. Check that your knee is still stacked, drifting the direction of the pinky toe, and that you're centered over your legs. Inhale and spread your wings. Exhale and sink deeply into your feet, rooting strongly. Shoulders away from the ears, reaching actively through both fingertips. Reach forward on your next inhale, and then exhale, reverse warrior. Right hand is light on the thigh. First, reach up and lift on an inhale, and as you exhale, maybe go into that side bend, opening up the left side body. Keep that strong bend in your front knee. On your next inhale, return to warrior two, and then moving into our side angle. So start again with your left forearm on top of that thigh, reaching up with your right hand. Be sure you're still pressing strongly into that back foot. And then you can play with whether it feels good to allow that left hand to drift down towards the earth or down towards the block. Your aim is to keep the chest nice and open and lifted, and the knee still strongly bent. Inhale, press into your feet, lift up, and we'll move into our flow. Inhaling to our reverse warrior, and exhaling slowly into our side angle, extended side angle. Utthita Parsvakonasana. Here's our reverse warrior, and here's our Utthita Parsvakonasana. Come back to warrior two. We're going to straighten that front knee, moving into Utthita Trikonasana, extended triangle. Maybe heel toe that back foot in for a shorter stance. And then when you're ready, reach forward on the inhale with your left hand. Shift those hips behind you to the right. And then allow that left hand to drift down. Option again for that block, if that worked on the previous side. If not, just allow those fingertips to rest lightly on the earth. Really reaching actively. Again, imagine that you're pressing your body against a wall to keep that back nice and flat. One more breath in, one more breath out. On your next inhale, lift up, all the way up, and then pigeon that left toe in. So we're coming into our wide-legged stance again. So we'll start, again, we'll readjust our stance so that our toes point out to the corners of the mat, reach up, and then exhale, squat down. So you bend your knees. Your knees are pointing in the direction of your toes. And you find that goalpost or cactus position again. Reach those elbows behind you just a little bit. Lengthen the tailbone down towards the earth. Go a little bit lower. And then inhale, straighten the legs, pigeon the toes in. This time, you have the option to take your hands behind you and clasp the hands together as you move into that wide-legged forward fold. Prasarita Padasana. Either way, hands on hips or hands behind you. Let's inhale. If you have the hands behind you, lift your heart up. And as you exhale, lower down into that wide-legged forward fold. Releasing through the head and neck, releasing the crown of the head towards the earth. And if your hands are clasped, see if you can draw the palms of the hands together a little bit more, and maybe keep a very slight bend in the elbows. One more inhale, press through the feet evenly, the outer edge of the feet. And as you exhale, slowly release the hands. And then we're going to come back into that revolved wide-legged forward fold. So take the right hand underneath you, reach your left hand to your left shoulder, open up that shoulder, and extend that left hand up. Open through your heart, actively reach up. Press into your hand to revolve the middle of the back, the right lung up towards the sky. And exhale, release. Imagine that your spine is this towel that you just soaked in water. Open up that right shoulder, and you're just wringing it out. Wringing out the spine. This is really good for back pain. Exhale, and release that right hand. Then we're going to walk it forward to the front of your mat again. So we'll come back into that lunge, coming onto the ball of your back foot, and again, option to lower the hips, and just maybe reaching the heart forward, move forward and back a little bit, warming up into that lunge. When you're ready, lightly hop that right foot up towards the front, release into your forward fold, and then bend the knees. We're coming into our chair pose. So keep that strong bend, lift the hands up, look down, make sure you can see your toes and wiggle them. The power is in the heels of your feet.
So from here, in your strong chair pose, we're going to take the hands to heart center and then press into the right foot as you lift the left knee up into stork pose. From here, again, you can kickstand that left leg over the right, or you can single cross, pressing the foot into the calf strongly, or if you'd like to try that double cross, the foot will tuck behind the calf. From here, we'll take the arms out to the sides, and our left arm comes under the right arm, crossing at the elbows. Press the backs of the hands together, or try the double cross with the palms pressing together. And then inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, sink down into that eagle pose, Garudasana. See if you can find a drishti point here, a point just in front of your eyes, about horizon level to focus on and help you stay balanced and focused. Really strongly tightening everything right into the midline, drawing everything in strongly. Take one more squat, and then on your next inhale, lift up, release the arms and leg, and then swan dive down into Uttanasana, forward fold, releasing through the head and neck. From here, we're going to heel toe the feet just a little bit wider than hips distance apart, and grasp opposite elbows, so we come into a ragdoll pose. Just gently releasing through the low back by swinging from left to right, allowing the head to hang heavy, allowing again for the hips to be the highest point of the body. And see if you can still press strongly into the triangle of the feet, the 3 points of the bottoms of the feet. Keep a really slight bend in your knees. Take the hands to the earth, look up, heel toe those feet a little bit closer together. Lead with the heart, make a little bit of a half lift, maybe pressing into your thighs. And then exhale, release into the fold and sit down. Come to your seat on the mat. We're going to move into some finishing postures here. So we'll start first with the legs extended straight out in front of the body, moving into Dandasana or staff pose, which is a great pose for practicing posture in a seated position. So you might take the flesh out from underneath you, finding a really nice balanced position on your sits bones. And then we're going to press the palms of the hands into the earth. So depending on your proportions, if you have shorter arms or a longer torso, you might not be able to reach the earth. So it's okay if you can't quite get there. You can make that gesture of pressing in with flat palms. We draw the heart up, the sternum forward and up, and we take the shoulder blades, tuck them together behind the back, lengthen through the back of the neck. And remember that the top of the spine ends at this point between the ears. So imagine the length of the spine all the way down from your low back, going all the way up into that space between your ears. Pressing strongly through your feet as if you have a block in front of your feet or a wall. And if you'd like a little bit of a forearm stretch or wrist stretch, you can even point the fingers backward. That is really nice for relief from carpal tunnel syndrome. From here, release wherever you are. We're going to take the right foot and press it into the inner thigh of the left leg, keeping that left foot nice and flexed. We're moving into Janu Shirshasana, or head to knee pose. So think about twisting your upper body so that your belly button is aiming toward the midline of that front leg. Hands to earth to begin. Lift through the heart, look up for a moment, and then leading with the heart center, begin to gently walk your hands out over that front leg. Inhaling to lift, and then exhale to lower over your leg, rounding through the spine. As you release your forehead closer to the knee, maybe take your hands outside of that front foot, or if it's available to wrap it around the foot, that can work as well. Just releasing here, allowing the exhales to become a little bit deeper, allowing the breath to slow down as you provide this gentle stretch for the back body. On your next inhale, we'll walk the hands back up, and we're going to move into half Lord of the Fishes, a gentle seated twist. So we'll take that right foot and take it on the outside of the left leg, continuing to flex through the left foot. From here, you have the option to bend the left leg and place it on the floor next to your right hip. But just be sure that if you do that, that your sits bones still stay evenly grounded into the earth. So either way is fine. We'll lift the left arm up, look up at it, keeping that right hand behind your right hip. Begin to twist and start first by just wrapping the left hand around that right knee and looking over your right shoulder. Now, if that feels okay, then you might even bend your left elbow, cross it on the outside of your right thigh, and then use that as a lever to twist you just a little bit more deeply. So think about drawing that navel in to help you twist every time you exhale. Inhale to lengthen through the spine and grow a little bit taller. And exhale to twist more deeply through the mid-back. One more inhale there. And then as you exhale, unfurl your body, twist gently in the opposite direction just for a moment, and then we'll switch sides. So this time we'll take the right foot out. We're going to press the left foot into the right inner thigh. Adjust your stance here so you're balanced, and then turn again to twist gently and face the midline of your right leg. Leading with the heart again, we begin to walk the hands out. Start first with that long spine. Inhale, lift, and then exhale, allow yourself to fold your torso over your leg, allowing that belly to make contact maybe with the thigh, and then adjusting where your hands need to go to make this a comfortable yet a stretch for your body. So we never want to feel pain, but we can always inhale and exhale and breathe into points of discomfort when we're stretching. Allowing ourselves to just relax more deeply into the pose. Allow the head and the neck to be free of tension. Check your jaw, make sure that you're not tightening through your jaw. Release any of that facial tension. And on your next inhale, we'll begin to walk those hands back up, coming back to an upright position, and then taking the left foot over that right leg. So we're twisting in the opposite direction here. So begin by twisting over to the left. We'll start by wrapping that right arm around the left knee, using that to provide our twist for us. Or we can bend the elbow, cross on the outside of the thigh, and twist just a little bit more deeply. So twists can be wonderful pain relief for the back. They're a great way to help us release tension from our back. Take one more inhale, lengthen through the spine. And then as you exhale, unfurl, release, and twist in the opposite direction really gently. We'll straighten both legs out in front first, and then we'll scoot forward just a little bit on your mat, coming to your seat, and taking your hands light underneath your thighs. Inhale and lift with the heart first, and then exhale, roll really slowly down, just one vertebrae at a time, coming to your supine position on the earth. First, keeping your hands flat on the earth, draw your knees in toward the chest. Allow yourself to really draw in without using your hands to press your knees closer. Then when you're ready, wrap your arms around the knees, curl it in, and let's just take some gentle massage for the low back. So maybe you just allow yourself to roll from side to side here, or you might even make little circles with your knees. Making little circles in a clockwise direction first, experiencing that nice massage. And then little circles in the opposite direction, moving in a counterclockwise position this time. Allow this to feel good in your body. And now this time, we'll take the hands out to the sides of the room, making wings with our arms. And bending our knees, we allow the knees to sit or to be stacked right over the hips. Inhale here, and then keeping both shoulders on the earth, allow the knees to drift over to the right side of the room. Maybe your knees touch the floor. What's most important is that your left shoulder stays on the floor, wherever you are, and you may even gaze over at your left hand. You can allow your gaze to be soft here, or close down the eyes. We come here to the end of our class. Inhaling, return to center, lifting those knees back up. And then exhale again, keeping both shoulders rooted into the earth. Allow the knees to drift over to the left this time. Maybe they come all the way to the earth, and you can look over toward your right hand. Or if that hurts your neck in any way, you can just allow your eyes to look up toward the sky. Feeling the way that your exhales allow the upper back to press into the body. Focusing on that deep breathing. See if you can bring your mind back to Ujjayi breath, continuing to inhale and exhale through the nostrils. Inhale, lift those legs back up. And this time we're going to take the knees out wide, wider than hips distance, reach through the legs so we can wrap the palms around the arches of the feet, or we can use our peace fingers to wrap around the big toes. We wrap, and then we use that leverage to press our flexed feet a little bit closer towards the earth. At the same time, think about pressing up to the sky with your feet. Maybe it feels good to roll gently from side to side in this position. Take one more inhale there. And then as you exhale, take your hands on the outside of your legs, draw them in toward the midline one more time, and then press your feet up toward the sky. So begin with your feet flexed. This is legs up the wall. We can point and flex the feet here, giving a little bit of relief to our feet that work so hard for us. You can roll the feet in one direction and then the other, just making circles with the feet. This is a wonderful pose for stress relief, for relief from anxiety, and it's also a great pose for insomnia. If you want to actually allow your legs to literally be resting against a wall, that can be very restorative for the body. Take one more inhale there. And as you exhale, if it's available, allow your legs to just really, really slowly drift all the way down to the earth, as slowly as you can. And then come to that fully supine position on your mat. So here we're moving into our Shavasana, our final resting pose. So we'll adjust to a position that's comfortable for us. If you're in this completely supine position, tuck your shoulder blades together down the back. Allow your feet to hang out to the corners of the mat, and just allow your palms to rest up toward the sky. And adjust your reception to what the universe has to offer for you. If that is not uncomfortable, especially on your low back, you can also place your feet flat on the earth. And you can even move into constructive rest. If you're familiar with Alexander technique, you can just place a book an inch or two thick under your head, and that provides a nice neutral alignment for the spine. Another option, if you'd like to try it, is to bring the bottoms of the feet together in a supine bound angle pose. So that's an option as well. Wherever you are, we're just coming to this final resting pose, allowing our body to fully absorb the effects of the practice that we were just involved in. We'll take a little scan of our body all the way from the crown of our head all the way to our feet. Moving really slowly, we just become aware of each part of our body, our face, feeling every part of our body relaxing a little bit more deeply, allowing the full weight of our heavy body to rest into the mat, to release into the mat. If you find that there's any places of tension still residing in your body, just try inhaling and then exhaling to find a deeper level of relaxation. Another option is if you have some remaining tension, you might even be able to tense just that part of your body. So maybe if you still feel tension in your upper back, you can really tightly draw those shoulder blades together, feel those muscles pull in the back body, and then exhale to fully release it more deeply. Feeling the weight of your body as if you were resting on a beach in the sand and your body was so heavy that it makes this imprint in the sand. Continuing to breathe deeply. We're going to try one last breathing exercise. And for this, we'll place one hand on the low belly and one hand on the heart, just as we did at the beginning of class. So first, allow yourself to come back into that breath. You don't have to use Ujjayi breathing here. You can just simply inhale and exhale. Feeling still the lift in the low belly on each inhale, but maybe you feel it less from this supine position. On our next inhale, we'll inhale and just fill up the lowest 1/3 of our belly. We'll hold that, and then we'll inhale and fill up 2/3 of the belly. Retain it, and then fill up the entire chest, and then exhale one long, slow exhale through the mouth. So release the breath completely, and we'll inhale together. Inhale into the low belly, fill up 1/3, and hold. Fill up another 1/3, filling the mid-belly, and hold. Now fill the chest completely, feel the full breath capacity of the lungs. Hold that intention that you set at the beginning of the class, and then exhale, one long exhale. Try that one more time. Inhale, fill up 1/3. Inhale again, fill up 2/3. Inhale, fill up the whole torso, the whole upper body with air. Hold that for a moment in your heart center, and then exhale out your mouth. You're welcome to stay here in the Shavasana, just resting your body, providing that time for relaxation that very few of us include in our daily lives. When you're ready to come out of the pose, you can simply move into a fetal position on your side, resting your head on your arm, and then using the top arm to prop yourself up and bring yourself into a seated position. Thank you all for practicing with me today. I hope you enjoyed this class and the focus on backbends. We usually end by saying that the light in me honors the light in you. So if you'd like to join me in that, you can press your hands together at heart center, thumbs pressed into the sternum, bowing your head down. Namaste.